This really is a full-sized Jeep.
This is the Avenger, a name which will either make you think of Marvel film and comic book heroes or an ancient hillman, depending on how old you are. It's actually almost exactly the same length as a Volkswagen Polo or a Vauxhall Corsa, which is actually good news when you're trying to squeeze it into a tight parking space in a multi-storey car park. It looks pretty compact next to other cars, especially SUVs.
What do you reckon? I think that it actually manages to shrink the Jeep look really quite well. You've got these squared off wheel arches, some quite butch-looking plastic cladding. Then, of course, you've got Jeep's trademark 7-slot grille, and you've got the cross in the rear light design. I think overall you could say it's dinky, but actually it's got a real chunky feeling about it.
But what about the bits you can't see? The Avenger is Jeep's first fully electric car. So underneath the new body is all of the big mechanical bits used in the Vauxhall Mokka-e and Peugeot E2008. But the Jeep is the first of them to get a few updates, including a new, more efficient motor and bigger 54 kilowatt-hour battery. It means the Jeep has an official WLTP figure of 250 miles, which is pretty good on any car, but one with a relatively small battery, well, that sounds like really good news. It means you should be able to get 4.6 miles out of every kilowatt you put in. That's twice as much as you'd get in a bigger SUV. Let's see how that works out in the real world, though.
Now, obviously, you haven't got the same kind of space that you would see in other SUVs. However, Jeep have still managed to find 355 litres of space. We're talking similar here to the Volkswagen ID3. Plus, always a fan of this, a lovely little storage space for your cables.
It's certainly big enough to take a chunky outdoor buggy, and this boxy shape means there's decent enough height to the space, which is ideal if you've got a larger dog in the back.
Now, space back here. It's not huge. It's about the same size as a Corsa-sized hatch. There's enough legroom, headroom for a averagely sized woman. Well, someone who's at least 5'8", maybe 7.5, but I like to round it to 5'8" to sit here comfortably. I also really like these headrests. It actually makes it really quite comfy sitting in these seats. The icing on the bun, though, would have been if the rear seats slid backwards or forwards so that you could have the choice of legroom or boot space, but unfortunately it doesn't have that, so you're going to have to live without it.
Up front, there's space for even a tall driver to find a natural feeling driving position, and there's loads of storage cubbies around the cabin to stow your stuff away.
Now, besides the comfort, I actually think it looks pretty decent in here. This I'm a big fan of. A big chunk of colour up here on the dashboard. Also, we've got some physical buttons, always a fan of those. You've got your drive modes here in the centre console. Some of the plastics, maybe they don't feel particularly premium, but actually with the dash, it's nice and logical to use, and it works really well beneath this. It's a standard 10.25 inch touchscreen, and I've had a little play around with it, and actually it all seems quite logical and straightforward.
That is a big step forward over previous Jeeps. The system has decent graphics, a physical home button so that you can hop back to the main screen instantly. The screen might not be the quickest to respond, but you do get wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, plus built-in TomTom sat-nav if you need it, and over-the-air software updates. Now, this first edition gets electric heated seats, a win, with lumbar adjustments, double win, and a host of other extras, including ambient lighting. You will have to pay more for them on lesser models, though.
Now, one of the biggest, bizarre talking points of the Avenger is this. This isn't my playlist gone badly wrong. No. It's not the start of a 1980s dance track either. No. Guess again, my friend. It's your indicator. Every time you put your indicator on, there it is. Let us know in the comments below. Is this the greatest? Or the worst thing about the Avenger? It's very random either way.
Like the Mokka and 2008, the Avenger has 100 kilowatt maximum charging speed at a suitable DC point, which means that you can have 10 to 80% charge in under 30 minutes, or a 100-mile top-up will take around 20 minutes in the right conditions. Plug it into a 7 kilowatt home charger and the Avenger will be fully charged in 8 hours. You also get a heat pump as standard in the Jeep Avenger, which makes the car more efficient in cold weather. So your driving range won't be affected quite so much if you have the heating on high when it's chilly outside. You can pay over £1,000 for a heat pump in some electric cars that cost a lot more than the Jeep, like the Kia EV6 for example.
So what about the all-important driving impressions? Well, I can tell you absolutely nothing because I'm currently not allowed to leave this studio in this car. However, my sneaky little colleagues at Electrifying managed to get a little first drive before me. Their impressions are currently on the Electrifying website, so do go and have a read of those. I can hear you saying it already. This isn't what Jeep is about though. This isn't a car which is going to be ploughing through jungles, as it's only two-wheel drive. Might even struggle on a snowy hill or in a muddy car park. Well, true, yes, but all is not lost.
Avengers get Select Terrain, which lets you choose the off-road surface you're driving on so that the car's electronic sensors and systems can be adjusted to make the most of available traction. There's a reasonable amount of good ground clearance too, which might help in deeper snow or a rutted track. But this is certainly not a hardcore off-roader, and it can't tow anything either.
All right, so it might not be able to tow, but will the price be enough to pull you in? Well, prices have actually yet to be finally finalised for the whole range. However, people in the know that I've been talking to, that it's going to be around £34,000 for the entry-level longitude model, but the posh altitude is going to cost around £35,000, but TBC, so we will update you when we know. However, what we do know is that this exact model, the first edition Avenger, which has all sorts of nice bits added to it, the official price is £36,500.
The monthly PCP lease and subscription finance deals are yet to be confirmed, but will certainly make or break the Jeep's success. After all, this car needs to be affordable to take on the bargain-priced MG4 and MG ZS EV. Now, Jeep is a well-known brand, but there's only so much people are going to pay for that.
So the Avenger, it really does have the makings of a great car, which offers chunky SUV looks with that city-friendly size and also decent efficiency too. Plus, it's surprisingly practical and should even have a little bit of off-road ability, which, let's face it, is as much as most people are going to need. Let's just hope that the price tag isn't too big an obstacle for the Avenger to climb over.